How's it going, guys? I'm here to talk to you all about Kentucky's coal industry today. Kentucky is the second largest coal producing state in the Appalachian Mountains or region. Coal is something that we all rely on. It's relied on for many jobs, especially in eastern Kentucky, east of where I live. And without these jobs, it really hurts Kentucky's economy. Kentucky is a coal state. I've grown up knowing it's a coal state, and we rely on this resource everywhere in the United States. It gives us energy, it keeps our houses lit, and it keeps a lot of rural citizens of Kentucky employed. I've grown up in Kentucky, and I think I've lived here for, 12 years, and I've always had the knowledge of, that eastern Kentucky was coal. And Kentucky is currently kind of struggling in this industry, and it's causing a lot of tough times for families. Kentucky's numbers continue to fall in the coal market. We need to make changes to get, people mining again. Kentucky's coal cuts each year are pretty much due to three things: costs, regulations, and the economy. I'll be describing exactly what's pretty much going on out east in this coal land, as I call it. First off is costs. Money is important to everybody, and if there's a cheaper way to do something, it's always, that's always the number one option, the cheaper way, because that saves money. And production costs, according to the Mountain Association of Community Economic Development, productivity of Kentucky coal operations has not kept pace with other states and of the industry nationwide. I think in 2004, Wyoming, I think was the state, had distributed 4,000 short tons or something like that of coal, compared to Kentucky's 80,000 tons. So you can tell that everything's dropping. Transportation costs is another big one. There's recently been a deregulation of on railways out west, like states like Wyoming. Therefore, the market is spreading westward. The big thing would be if oil prices continue to rise, our state will have an edge over like trucking companies and such to transport out east. Regulations. It's understandable to keep everyone safe, and regulations are put in place to keep people safe and play a huge role in the coal industry mainly because it's so dangerous. The Clean Air Act. This act was passed in, I think, 1990. It made it more expensive to use high sulfur coal. Therefore, they regulated. It made it more expensive to use high sulfur coal by regulating sulfur dioxide emissions. Eastern Kentucky's coal is low in sulfur, so this kind of helped for a while. But now there's like technology and such, which can basically take the sulfur out of coal, so they can use any coal now, so they're still spreading westward. Greenhouse gas emissions. Coal is responsible for I think 30% of climate change involving pollution in the US. So basically, starting with Al Gore and now with President Obama pursuing what Al Gore started, they're trying to make our country cleaner, more green. We need to gradually move towards like a greener way of living rather than just totally saying goodbye to coal. It's definitely a good way to have energy, a greener way. The economy. Counties east of me, which like Pikeville, I guess, like Pike County way east, or Harlan, are suffering major cuts in the amount of money given for their coal. So politics. Our politics are basically two-sided in the United States, and one side for coal, basically, which I guess you could call the Republican side, and one side's against the coal industry, which would be more like the Democrats. They're wanting to force like things like wind and solar and stuff like that, hybrid cars, stuff like that, to become greener. And the national government is moving away from coal, I think, a little too quickly. So quickly that a lot of people are becoming unemployed in eastern Kentucky and just kind of dropping coal pretty quickly in Kentucky, all in all. And I don't believe it can be done overnight. It's really hurting a lot of families out east. Another big thing with the economy is our budget. The coal tax revenue in Kentucky was like $88 million less than lawmakers expected when they passed the state budget, like just like in the summer, I think. And Harlan County suffered like a $700,000 drop in their coal money this year. Like I said, coal cuts each year are due to costs, regulations, and the economy. This is what's just totally hurting the coal industry all in all. And both costs and regulations are bringing coal industries out west. And without this, and with the economy and the ideologies of our government, coal in Kentucky will eventually be gone, because we are going to move towards a greener way of living. And the only hope, I believe, for the coal industry in my state is for coal to become cleaner and more efficient than solar and wind power, which is basically impossible. So basically I'm saying that hopefully it gradually comes out rather than them making this large of cuts immediately, because it's just totally taking away jobs and making people unemployed in Eastern Kentucky very quickly. And now Brendan's basically going to talk about the miner aspect of coal and what they're dealing with. So Brendan's going to come out right now. Thanks, guys.
All right, guys, how's it going? Like Tyler said, I'm going to talk about the more like the mining side of it rather than the corporate side. Like he gave you some more statistics, stuff like that. I'm going to kind of advocate for the miners and let them like how they feel and stuff like that. So I mean, every day like thousands of these miners get down in the mines, and they do it just to better our lives. And they are often like unrecognized, and they're unnoticed. I believe that they should be more appreciated and everything for the things that they do. But people are just unaware of the things they do that actually help them every single day. And, being in like a resident in Kentucky for about like maybe 13, 14 years, like it's kind of more important for me. And I'm like aware of these issues, because I've seen it on the news, all these stories that have been made, of these issues that like coal miners face and everything. So for this project, I've conducted like a large amount of research, and, just like I said, being a resident and just being around it all the time, I really know a lot about it, so I feel like I'm educated enough. So basically I'm going to address a lot of downfalls that the miners have and how they're affected, on a daily basis. And they're affected negatively, like in many ways. Most of the reasons, like for example, like main reasons I'll be addressing are like, how they've been forgotten, how these economic policies have like affected their jobs, their lives, and I mean, even their families, they have to, support their families and do everything just like we do. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is the devastating economic policy that's been put into place. Sorry to say, the miners aren't really a fan of Barack Obama because, he's Democratic, and the Democratic are, very for, alternative energy sources, and they're kind of anti-coal, and, the whole greenhouse, thing and, clean air, they want to, promote that and get that ready. So it doesn't really help out the miners anymore. So, in my state, like if these policies continue to go, be put into place, or, keep moving forward and everything, or not revoked, the ones that have already been put into place, then it's going to be really like a negative thing for my state. So, I mean, it's putting miners out of work. Like I said, they can't, support their families. They can't support themselves. They have bills to pay just like we do. So, I mean, people are just, bottom line is people are getting laid off just due to these policies, and it's really hurting them and our economy as a state. People aren't, just like me and you, people aren't really in a position to take care of their families with no job. No job is no money. So these miners really do need these jobs. I mean, it's an important job, it's not a worthless job, so it's really important. So I think that like cutting down on coal and, putting these policies into place is not really the right thing to do. So, I mean, because it provides, a lot of jobs for these people, like I said, and it has like extreme impact on our economy, and it really helps out our state as a whole. Okay. So, miners do like not only for our state but our country, and like I said, they really go like unnoticed, So living in a coal mining state, like I said, I've seen many strikes and seen stories and everything about these downfalls, and it kind of really gets to you, because they just they work so hard, and everybody just basically places them in the backgrounds of society, and that's not really how it should be. I mean, just like, for example, people that don't live in a coal mining state like I do, like say like California or New York, something like that, they don't have any coal mines there. So they're just unaware of how hard these people work. They just receive the energy from the coal, but they really don't have, any sort of idea of what comes from it. So therefore they kind of place coal miners in like the stereotypical background of society, just low level people, but it's not really right. Basically, I mean, like I said, these people don't want to be forgotten, and that's all they're really asking for. They, like I said, they provide us with a lot of our energy. And like, for example, like in Ohio, the state of Ohio, like 80% of the electricity in that state comes from coal. So how are we supposed to get the energy without them? How are we supposed to light our house? How are we supposed to, do whatever we want to do without the energy, without the electricity, without these miners? It's impossible. So, I mean, just kind of sum up some points here. I've addressed like a lot of issues and, downfalls that they've faced, and, how they've had problems with the economic, policies and everything. And basically they're just advocating for change, and I really support them because they're a part of my state. And, it's kind of close to me, So I think that we should change these policies and stuff. Or shut up, dude. All right. So I mean, like I said, these miners are like happy with the current president, and do these policies and like the promotion of alternative energy. It's the complete opposite of what they're trying to do. And just to kind of sum up, the main thing is like we have to get these policies to like be revoked or to stop or not be promoted as heavily, because these people aren't, they're getting cut for jobs, and they really shouldn't be. They face like struggles every single day, and they provide us with a solid source of energy. They don't get paid as much as they should. Why do we need to take that away? I mean, like I said with the Ohio example, it's so dependent on coal. Our whole country is. It provides economic strength for our whole country, our state, everything. So I believe that we should kind of join the miners and help the fight to keep the coal alive. All right, thanks, guys.